So today in Q40 Talk with a founder, we are going to discuss about the future of crypto. Is the future on chain? Is the next Binance on chain? So yes, it's a project. We had a sale on Q42. It's RampX. And today we are with the founder of RampX. And we are going to discuss about his product, what he is bullish on for 2025. So first, before starting, our latest news is like we're going to have a new sale on Q42 next week. It's about DeFi. So how are you doing, bro? And tell me a bit more about RampX in short.
Yeah, man. Pretty good myself. Thanks for having me on, and always a pleasure talking to you. Probably one of my first interviews I've done for context. So yeah, exciting times. TLDR about RampX, I would say, is we're pretty much providing an off-chain experience on-chain. So I think the problem of UX has been talked about in crypto for years and years, and right now we're at that intersection where the tech is available with intents and abstraction to allow for that UX problem to be solved. And probably one of the most things I'm bullish on for 2025.
So if you were to say like the issue you are solving is like, how can you give a very simple experience of using like a Binance, but on-chain?
Yes, correct. Like in short, it's that like the tech gets deeper. I don't know how deep you want to go into the tech side. But in short,
Not, we don't want to go deep in the tech side. We just want to understand the product.
yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, there's two elements to RampX. So yeah, so on the short side, that's what we're solving. It's pretty much like we lose everyone to centralized exchanges because of all the complexities. To be honest, myself included, like I know I'm building on chain, but I'm a big centralized exchange maxi in the sense that if my dad wants to get on, he's going to lose money on a MetaMask wallet way more than Binance going under, right? I think FTX going under was a big black swan. No one was expecting it. There's been a few that it's happened, but the chance of him going on MetaMask and not clicking a phishing link is like very low. He's 100% going to lose his fund. So for me, I always recommend people to get started on a centralized exchange. I get on your keys, know your crypto narrative, but I think for a normie, it just makes sense that way until solutions are built out.
Yeah. So I really like what you're saying here. So of course, everything we are going to say is not a financial advice. I'm very bullish on your product, but of course, I'm biased, But what I would say is like, I really like the quote from CZ, and I think we tried to find it back, but I don't know where it's from. But I'm 100% sure that CZ at some point said that the next Binance is on chain, like a few years ago, like 5-6 years ago, like I don't know, 5 years ago at least. And the thing is like, I'm a big centralized exchange user like you. Love centralized exchange, love the UI, love the UX. It's so easy to use, so convenient.
Yep.
And I don't want to manage my security. I want to like have Binance handling that, for example. Then, we had MetaMask. I think it's a shitty experience. It's horrible. Like, I don't know how come the product hasn't moved since years. And that's why I was very bearish, like Ethereum. And then I started to use Phantom Wallet. I was like, no matter like how good Solana is, Phantom Wallet is so good that, it's just a banker, And so I was starting to be like, okay, starting to use quite a lot of Jupiter. I was like, okay, perhaps people will start to move on chain, But I was still like, we'll stay on Binance and Binance will still lead the way, Then we had like Hyperliquid, I think, that is very interesting, and I will like, I think, cook like crazy things. And then I started to like realize what your product was about. And this is where I was like, okay, with all of that, like Solana showing some crazy on-chain metrics, Hyperliquid cooking hard, your product and like the tech you have on your product, we're going to chat a bit more, made me think like, okay, perhaps the next Binance is on-chain, and I want to be part of it. Like I want to be part of it. And you often call RampX like, I don't know, the super app. I don't know. I know perhaps you don't like that, but why can you call it that way? And what are like the top things we can do with RampX? Like, so people understand that now it's a centralized exchange on chain. So I would be able to use it like I'm on Binance with an email, all this kind of things. But what a super app means.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I want to give creds to you because you're the one who started the next Binance on-chain narrative. So I hope that quote exists because that's all on you otherwise. No, so RampX, I guess super app. We're going to change ourselves. We're going to call ourselves average app soon. Everyone's going. I think what I've noticed is since we went with the super app narrative, picked up a bit of heat. Everyone's a super app now. Yeah, I go on some like normal perps platform and they're calling themselves a super app as well. But yeah, so I guess what we are doing. Sorry, explain the question again. How we're making it into a super app? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. what makes it like a super app? Like what's the wow effect kind of?
Yeah, for sure, man. So I think, like you said, the thing with even Phantom, the way it started was it wasn't anything special. It was just a nice, well put together MetaMask, like very simple UI, and they've just like accelerated the product roadmap quite quickly. The difference between us and say Phantom Wallet or whatever is the onboarding process. We've got a few different things coming out, but just going from the bare bones without introducing that. A user able to just use Apple Pay, buy straight into the crypto, not like they don't even have to do the USDC step. There's a lot of companies that they'll say you can buy crypto with Apple Pay, but you're buying USDC, so technically true. But here, if it's like you're a new user, you want to buy Trump coin, you bust Apple Pay and it goes straight to Trump coin. They don't have that middle intermediary step. So getting on chain is very easy, and picking up from that is like right now you need Solana for Sol Chain for gas, you need ETH for all the different ETH chains. And then if you're bridging funds, you can't bridge to anything but the native gas token chain. So you need a gas token chain on the source one as well, right? And bridging in itself is just a whole different story. So what we are doing is starting off with, I guess, the abstraction. We'll start with the abstraction side. So gas is completely abstracted on our end. So I've got normie mates at the moment who are using it, and they've been probably the best, people to test this on.
What you mean by that is like when I go on MetaMask, for example, yesterday I had to claim my anime. I had to connect my Arbitrum chain to my MetaMask or like let's say wallet. I had to add like ETH on Arbitrum. So it's like painful, and like it took me like 30 minutes just to claim the thing to then like I don't know have it. So with you, like with Rampex, we don't have this issue anymore, right?
Correct. Yeah. So like going back to the Apple Pay, you buy Trump. If you buy Trump on Phantom, you're stuck with Trump. That's it. You can't move it, you can't sell it, you can't swap it until you get sold in there, right? So with us, buy Trump, everything is abstracted from there on. You don't, as a user, you have no idea what a chain is. So if you've never come into crypto, you're just interfering like a Cash App type interface. You can go from Trump coin to Bread coin. Once again, you don't need to know what the chain is. We have an option where we show people a little emblem of the chain because we did some testing, and crypto natives still like that little hint of where they're buying X coin. And there is a couple of coins on different chains. So like it's spread across AVAX, ETH, things like that. We have unified that balance as well. So it all spends as one. So if you have USDT across 5 chains, you can spend it all as one balance, and there's no extra fees in that as well. So it's not like, when you're withdrawing it or whatever, you're paying more for that service.
So if I sum up, like I will not be bothered with bridging using like either like an on-chain bridge or like a centralized exchange. I don't need like to have gas on like all the chains, and I don't need to be focused on like a chain. Like you will give me the best routing and like handle that.
Correct. Yeah. So I think the no chain, all that stuff we push on crypto Twitter. We're doing a very big marketing campaign like on the social side as well. So it's not even mentioned over there. There's no mention of bridging, no mention of chains, no mention of gas. They don't know about it. They don't need to know about it. And for them, it's just like the best UX. It's the same as downloading Binance, even better than Phantom. In Phantom, you still have to learn about Sol, and then there's 5 different chain options at that point as well.
Yeah. And I think, this cycle is about like the people we are onboarding this cycle are not people like from the previous cycle. Like people from the previous cycle, you could give them like a shitty UI UX. They will get the job done and they will put the effort. I think from this cycle, the things that are working is like Pump Fun. It's like Moonshot, where everything needs to be very easy in terms of like UI UX. Otherwise, people are like, oh, don't bother me. Like I'm a TikTok user. I have a 20-second like attention span, so I'm leaving. If it's not like that way. So I think that's the very cool thing you have with your product. And we hear a lot about abstract chain. Like it's going to be a banger. It's the consumer app, all these kind of things.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? And like, where is like Rampex sitting, compared to that, just to understand?
Yeah, man. I am so, if you go through my Twitter, I'm so excited about abstract chain. I think it's a true test for crypto as well at the same time. So it's going to have 2 extremes. It's either going to be a big hit or a big flop. For the first time ever, UX has been solved on a chain level, right? So everyone talks about solving UX, the first pain point, but abstract has done it for you from day one. So for me, it's like if you're building a consumer app, there's no reason to go anywhere else. It's an L2, it's a well-optimized L2. All L2s are pretty much quite similar in its nature. And a lot of people who build L2, some of the times it's just like a Caldera one-click launch. So there's no real unique selling point, whereas abstract has it on a chain level, complete user abstraction. So no gas on their chain. So they've got what we're building, but as a whole chain itself. So yeah, for me, it's like you've got the infrastructure as a builder now to build consumer apps. And it's like two situations I think is going to happen. Are we going to get two unicorn companies that end up going completely mainstream, where it's used, like blockchain is used on a very minuscule level, but it's gone mainstream at that point. So it's like, cool, we've got a use case for blockchain. Two of them are unicorns. Abstract's going to be probably one of the top chains, in my opinion. Or two, we realize at this current point, at least, crypto is just about price action. So abstract chain doesn't matter. So that's my opinion on it.
Crypto is speculation.
Crypto speculation. So that's my opinion on it. I mean, outside of infrastructure, like there's cool stuff with verification and all that stuff, but that's on the back end. I mean, more like everyday use apps. Because right now, if you look at the most used apps by normies, it's going to be price action based, moonshot, things like that.
Of course. Right? Of course.
So yeah, abstract that test. Like, are we going to get something like, outside of price action, even if it's just like prediction markets, something that takes off? Yeah, keen to see, and bullish on Luca. So be a super interesting one.
Interesting, but like basically for people to visualize like what the narrative we are hearing about like abstract chain is the same for Rampex, just Rampex like has like all the EVM chain and Solana, just to understand.
Yeah, we'll have a bunch more like Sui, Eclipse. We can have Bitcoin. We can have. So it really matters where we want to focus our resources on. So we're doing abstract on all blockchains and most VM level.
Okay, very interesting. And what is the thing like that makes you like, because you're in founder mode right now, I can testify. What is the thing that makes you like super excited about Rampex, or like the thing that you think that will perhaps change the industry? Like,
yeah, so I mean, like I've never wanted to. I've always been in crypto. I started as like in growth roles while I was at uni, worked for Solana, OKX, Neo Protocol, did GTM stuff. And to be honest, anyone getting into crypto, you can have whatever tech skills you want, have financial backgrounds. I think the best is always start with a go-to-market or BD role, because that builds up your network. And personal brand in crypto is very important, and the people you know is probably the most important thing ever. And there's no better role than that than go-to-market, marketing, and BD roles. And I would highly advise building a brand early on as well. Like that's something I didn't do. I've started doing recently now. It makes a big difference. Yeah. Sorry. What was
you changed your Twitter handle recently, right?
My profile pic, maybe.
My profile pic. Yeah. You now you have a DGOD, right?
Black and white mode. Yeah. That was the only. Yeah. I mean, I love Frank as well. I'm not gonna lie, but it was the best looking PFP in black and white, like Rampex colors. Okay. So that
to match the user interface of Rampex, right?
Yeah, I went through like 4 or 5. It was like an 8 sol floor. It was quite low, but and I went for the simplest one and paid I think double the price just because it looked good in the. It's like a forever thing right now.
That's cool. That's cool. But I think that as you mentioned, like having a personal brand and like trying to interact with as many communities. NFT is like often like a best way to do it. Like I think like I tweeted about Jira-san like 3 days ago, and I had like a bunch of like interactions, and I think it's cool. So if you have time, buy an NFT of a collection. Try to, of course, buy at a proper time to not lose money and to try to make money. Understand the community, go in the Discord, spam the community, ask questions, understand the narrative, and all this kind of thing. I think is very important.
Yeah, I just your question was around founder mode, like the recommendation. Yeah, man. Like I actually have a lot of insights on that. I think like at the early on stage of Rampex, it was like I think what the important thing as a founder is at the early stages, you should not be delegating, is what I have figured out. You need your hands in every pie because you're the one who cares about the product. You see the vision. When you start delegating, and it's like one of those things, trust has to be earned. Early on, I made the mistake of like, having different people doing different things, and sure, that takes a load off you, but it doesn't get done to the efficiency you want it to be done. And I think probably like 3-4 months ago, we pretty much fired the whole team, reset the company as a whole. And it's been hell for me because I'm doing everything from tech, fundraising, marketing, and like you name it, and I'm kind of involved there. But I think it's very important for the first 3 months, 4 months to get that foundation right. And then after that, I think it's all about hiring the right people and slowly, like, giving them more and more responsibilities. Don't go like, cool, now you're in charge of this. even if you're doing daily meetings, you have to be very involved, and then eventually give them, trust over time.
Yeah, I think that's very hard, especially in crypto. That's the thing I'm always like becoming crazy about. Is like when you have like crazy pump, people like in the team are like not focused on work, or like they are like fuzzing around. And when crypto is like dipping, they are depressed. And I'm like, bro, but crypto is always only up or only down. So how do we do? But that's interesting. I think
The worst is hiring, man. Like hiring in the bull market. I've had people who wanted to work for me a year ago, and it's like, cool, we're ready to go now. And it's like, oh, I made 3 million on Hyperliquid. I'm good. Like, I don't need
that's
to.
the thing. That's the thing. Definitely. But building is important. And you launched. You were talking about the fundamental. You release your beta. Like I think you're starting to release your beta. Let's say slowly. So why have you done that? What are the feedbacks? How you are iterating? Just not to understand about Rampex, but just like more the flow of like the building, iterating, and everything.
Yeah. Let's say I'll give you a quick thing about this. Will be a bit more techie. So like what we're doing is on the front end, it's like called Binance on chain. There's two parts of the business. There's OmniBridge is what's operating Rampex on the front end. So OmniBridge we have working pretty well. Got 4 different phases for it, expanding on it. Phase 1 working really really well. For us, it's been a UI thing. So the front end. So like finding those little mini bugs. And trust me, there's like a million mini bugs you'll find. You would know that. You went through the beta. So I think that's where we're at. It's like fixing the UI bugs. We know the backend's working very smooth. So, swaps are going through and we're expanding on the functionalities of it and can release more and more features. So for us, it's all about front-end focus at the moment. So all the bugs that we've been finding have been front-end, and I'm a big UX guy. Even I feel like as in beta testers, I love my community. These guys are amazing, like probably the best people. But even then, I feel bad giving, like them finding small bugs. I want them to have a really, really good experience. Would love to expand this, but I think first impressions, last impression. So been very selective to who we're giving it to as well. Just making sure they're, what do you call it? One, like they've been around with us. They're at the AMA, so I know they're supporting us for long term. It's not going to turn them off that, one thing is going wrong here. Like this product sucks. There's bugs in every product, but yeah, so that's
all the time. Even on Binance, I remember when they launched the perps, like it was a long time ago. It was so buggy at the beginning. It was insane. I was in the API chat and everything. It was insane. But I think with like working with you, I think that's a thing I realized is like, with Q42, we were like, I think it's very important to have like project like raising through like community syndicates like early on. Like you have Echo, you have Legion, and few other names. You have Q42, of course. Like really at the early stage, like seed private rounds, to get like, I think, very noted community guys jumping in. And I think if like then founders like succeed to have like, keep like, I don't know, a noted group of people like founders, investors, angel, even though they haven't invested in the product or whatsoever, like in the company, very close to them, like a close circle. And like, you note them with like products updates, just like you see like things are moving forward and like, they can test it and everything. I think it's create like something even better, because like you feel you are investors, you feel you are even more part of it and you understand the whole process, And now it's the thing that I try to really understand with the project I'm working closely, like advising or whatsoever, is like understanding all the steps, and like, really trying to understand that, because I think it's so important. And we also like, we often like, I think overvalued like feedbacks we get from a random normie on Twitter, like online. I'm guessing you should do that. And I think we underestimate like the feedbacks from guys from close to you, like who are investors or whatsoever. And they are not shilling you like advice to defend their bags, because I think that's the thing is like in the end, like, I won't say like you don't really care, but like, it's like VC, so you want to help them.
I love like all our angels, like I think I probably communicate with them like a crazy amount. Like like everyone, even with you, I think we speak almost every day. All our angel investors and stuff. I think I love hearing the negative feedback because like you need it. Like otherwise, you're just in your fairy tale mode, and you're not getting any improvements and stuff. But yeah, man, I think that's probably the most important thing that I learned in crypto. 3 things: capital, then distribution, and then execution. You need that distribution, otherwise your product just goes under the, like it just goes missing. As good as your tech can be, whatever it is, we've got competitors who are, they've got cool, what do you call it, like they've raised a lot of money. They've got very good backgrounds, but they didn't focus on distribution, and now they're in some of our angels DMs, like wanting to give them free equity, to promote their product and stuff. So I think people are learning that. Echo is a very good example as well. Like that the whole community, you have 10,000 people coming with you with interest in the product, using your product, giving you feedback.
100%.
It's amazing, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the thing you mentioned is like, if you have like the community jumping in early on and like you have a super strong angel round, I think that's the thing you had. And that's the thing we recommend now for project. Then you are ready to shine, you know, because like you don't have to pay those guys like later on, like 10 times the price, you know? And I think that's a very important point. And I think
free staff members as well half the time. Like,
yeah,
have any issues? Like, cool, I'll hit this guy up, and usually it's sorted pretty quickly. So that's the other plus. Like, whereas with the VC funds, like channels you have to go through. Very like as in we have VCs on board as well, but they're obviously more structured. They've got multiple deals going on. It's not just one person you're speaking to. It'll be like a group.
And it's a bit less. I would say the feedbacks I have from like founders is like it's a bit less rational. I would say it's a bit less emotional. It's more like about figures, you know.
I think it's that as well. It's also there's a hierarchy there. So the analyst is scared of giving something wrong feedback that ends up going higher up, and he's in trouble for it. It's like more corporate, I would say. I think that's like the corporate world.
And to bounce back on what you are mentioning, I think one of the edge you have as a founder is like you have a VC background, you know. So I think it helps you like structuring your fundraising, structuring your token economics, and I think you have few things. So, but can you tell us more about how like being a former VC guy helped you like now being a founder? You know, I think it's pretty unique.
Cool. I think honestly, I think VC is a career that I recommend for everyone. Whatever stage you get into, I think especially early on, if you're able to get into it, it's one of those things you're shaping. Obviously not me at that point, I was an analyst. So, I mean, you get to see what's coming in the next 5 years. You're shaping the future of the next 5 years. You're writing the checks into, people who wrote checks into OpenAI or ChatGPT. It was back in 2016 when it was nothing, right? They like made it happen in 2021, whenever it launched. So you're pretty much like dictating the future in a way. You're deploying your capital to where you want to see the world go. I think I've been out of the loop, but there's a famous Chamath quote about VC. It's like
the goat. But I think a very important point you mentioned is like the guys who invested in like OpenAI in 2016. Perhaps some of them will call them lucky. Some of them will call them like they were like visionaries. But the most important thing is like if you were able to invest in OpenAI in 2016, it means like your brain was wired a different way. And most likely you were thinking a different way than people and you made also very good deal or like you front run everybody, you know. And I think that's the thing of course I'm missing so many things, but one of the things I was missing, as a trader, like doing a bunch of things is like doing VC, you know. I think now since I do VC, I FOMO way less. I'm way more aware about the market conditions. How is it going? Who is struggling? Who is not struggling? What is hot? What is not hot? And also like, what is the future of like crypto, you know? And I feel like since I'm doing VC, like I have 3 months, 6 months of like front running, like everybody on like this thing will take off, this thing will take off, and all this kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, it opens your brain up, in my opinion. Like it's like stuff that you didn't know could happen, and then you look at it now, and it's like you see how it's going to change, and it's that perfect transition from a VC to a builder because you get to see what's coming and what you really like. And I think the best is like you get to analyze founders that do well and founders who don't do well. That's probably the biggest tell, like in that sense. Like you can tell straight away usually, especially pre-seed, because that's what you're betting on. You're betting on the founder most of the time, right? So there's like a bunch of different things you can just tell over time. We've obviously had investments that have done really, really bad. And if a founder's just raised his round and he's running a party the next day, you're probably going to lose your money. Most likely. I think there was one check we wrote, and I think it was the next weekend we were invited to like some crazy party, and they must have spent 40-50K on. But like it was meant to be fun, but we're just looking there like that's like fun that we just gave this person.
Yeah, I was chatting with a friend in Dubai, and he did like all the event in Singapore. Is like, bro, I've been to so many parties where everything was free and like not cheap thing, like very expensive parties, you know.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't even know the name of the project, you know. I'm like, it's so bad, you know. But I think it's one of the main issue in crypto is like, I think projects are raising too much, have too much like funding, and like they become crazy very, very fast, because some guys like are not millionaires and they raise millions and they think now they are millionaires. But no, bro, it's the company that is millionaire. You are not a millionaire. And they tend to kind of like think that the company money is their money and like it's creates something very bad. And the thing is, like, I think we have very few founders talking about it because most of these companies like go back to zero, and then we don't hear about the founder. When in Web2, founders tend to share like their mistakes.
Yes,
it's easier, like they share those mistakes. Yeah.
Word of investors. And Naval had the quote like, the issue with crypto founders, crypto startups, the founders get rich too quick.
Yeah.
And then they abandon the product.
Yeah.
Maybe not abandon the product, but your drive goes down, I would say. That's a big thing in crypto as well. And the worst is the best business to be in the bull market is agencies. They're just taking all that capital that's been raised and just straight into their resources. And we've really learned that. We've been doing like traditional, video shoots, more of the traditional marketing, and then we've been doing marketing on the crypto marketing stuff, design stuff. So we did an IRL shoot. I was expecting a price quote of like 15K around that budget area, 4.7K AUD, 3K USD around that mark, and I'm just like, it's like a whole new world. Crypto money is just like it's different, especially in the bull market. So
crypto money is different. And it's always, the prices of that like are changing so fast, like you can just in 2 weeks, the price can like triple and everything. But I think that's the hard thing in crypto is like, in the end, you have so many projects raising like Series A at like 100 million plus valuation. They will have so much money that it's hard to compete, in terms of like capital efficiency. So you need to be smarter, you need to grow fast. And I think that's the thing you are doing, definitely. And what would you, because like I think you are in founder mode like since like months now, what would be the advice you would give to like guys who are just starting building or like are building their product, like to make sure like they have like avoiding common mistakes? I don't know, everything that comes to your mind.
Yeah, man, that's interesting. I think like I would say like for your health first, like I honestly, like I was a very big gym goer. Like I would go every day, every morning. Like at least spend 2 hours on, health, fitness, being active, taking care of myself. That's completely gone out the window with last 2 months. I still do like the biohacking stuff, just keep my like brain sharp, like cold showers in the morning, steam room. But gym is like, it's like a rare event now. But
Yeah.
I think it's also the time of the market. Like it's one of those things right now where you're competing against. I love competition as well. Like it's fun, but there's new stuff dropping every day, new pieces of tech, and you've got to be on top of it. Like I think last probably 4, 5, or even longer now since Saturday. I think I've probably slept 2 hours, maybe then 2, 3, 3. Last night I crashed at 10 o'clock like randomly, and I think 1 o'clock I woke up. I checked my phone, and that was the worst decision ever. I was up till 5, 6 o'clock after that. So it's hard. In terms of mistakes, yeah, I think once you've got to a settled point and you can get quality people on, you should really dial back and like get your priorities back in order. But at the initial stage, I think you've got to be ready to sacrifice things. Like even my mates hate me at the moment. They're like I haven't hung out with them in a while, and they think it's because like I'm avoiding them. But I'm like I generally haven't been able to. Biggest mistakes would be, I think, one, picking a good co-founder. Like if you're going to go down the co-founder route, make sure you see eye to eye. Second would be having a good, I would say, like support system around you. So whether that's angel investors or just people that you can trust blindly, that aren't going to be there just you've raised capital. They're not going to be just there for a paycheck. They're going to take on equity as well. And the third would be open to feedback. Like people get into this like especially in the bull market, like I know a lot of agencies are talking to me like everyone thinks their token's going to $1 billion, their product is like the best thing ever, and it's like a lot of people are building what you're building, and take on the feedback you get from other people. And most of the time, like and people do NDAs for decks. Sometimes it's like if your idea is like your idea is not that good, there's going to be 10 more people that are doing the same thing. It's about how you pull it off. And that would be the main thing I'd say in terms of mistakes. And hire fast, fire fast is probably one of the best things as well. Like I made that mistake early on. You feel bad, you keep them on, you have a conversation, have your first warning, etc., etc. But generally things don't change. So hire fast and then just fire fast if you have to. We had a dev, yeah, recently it was like 8 hours he lasted, but yeah, that was from experience. So it was like, cool, you might get better in 2 weeks' time, but we're at this stage right now where we can't afford 2 weeks even. My senior dev now has to go back and teach your code, teach you, mentor you. So yeah, I think those few things, probably a lot more as well. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. Yeah, sorry, it was a delegation. Like I think I've mentioned that already at the just before.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned is like, being a founder in Web3 is very, very hard. Competition is very high. Ideas are worth, I think, ideas are worth zero in Web2, but I think in Web3, they are worth even less because market is changing so fast and you have to pivot and you have to adapt the market. And like so many guys have ideas, so many guys bootstrap and that's kind of thing.
At least in traditional startups, there's like a weekend or there's like a compliance gap. You got to wait for some legal, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
in
of
this,
course.
it's just like boom, boom, nonstop.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
it's yeah, it's intense, but it's fun.
Yeah, definitely. And just perhaps to end on a positive note, what are the things you are the most bullish on for 2025?
Yeah, man. 2025, I think it's going to be the year of abstraction. Like I'm doubling down on it. I think this is the year we finally fix crypto's UX. I think that's going to be the biggest thing in 2025. Interoperability, getting rid of like chains, bridges, making on-chain as easy as traditional rails. That's probably what I'm most bullish on. I think there's a bunch of other cool projects coming out. The AI sector, to be honest, not that bullish myself. I know the agent narrative is very hot at the moment, but especially the financial agents, like, let's be real. If your financial agent is making you crazy amounts of money overnight, are you going to go give it out to the whole world to use freely? It's like hedge funds. You sign an NDA, you have a non-compete, you can't share that strategy because after a certain amount of people have it, it no longer becomes a strategy that's profitable. And the same goes for agents. So there's a few things that's got to be worked on that front. Yeah,
But I think what's cool with those agents, like financial agents, as you mentioned, is like some of them are just like, I think, very insider guys building the agent and like leaking alpha, I would say.
yes.
So you have to be very careful on what you follow, what you trust and everything. But I think that's smart because it makes like the alpha like more like open for retail. And the second thing is like, I think a bunch of guys are still building like infrastructure, for example, like ELISA framework or these kind of things, you see like how fast it goes.
Yes.
But yeah, of course, it's getting a bit cloudy. So okay, abstraction for 2025. Do you have like any other things in mind? And I don't know.
Yeah, to be honest, I think abstraction's like my main focus point. I think it's also I've been honed in on it for so much. Like I know everything about the abstraction phase, intense. So that's what we're doing, intense and abstraction together. That's like the perfect fusion you get for a really nice UX. So even agents, they all are going to be interacting with intense. It's probably the most innovative thing that's come out of crypto. And it's not even a crypto thing. Like it's more of a traditional concept that's just translates really well to on-chain finance.
Yeah, definitely. Perhaps on the closing note, you want to give us like the next big I don't know, stuff you have on your roadmap, and then we can close the talk like.
Yeah, man, for sure. I think on our roadmap, we'll be doing some like cool stuff with AI, not agents. Although people might think it's agents because I think the blur is so big about what an agent is.
Yeah.
So there'll be cool stuff going on there. You'll see a good marketing push from us. I think you'll see us everywhere. I think what we've realized is we've got the firepower to just press the button, go at any time. That was a good learning curve for me as well. You got to strategically do that and know when you're going to press that button. So we're kind of just pulling back, making sure none of our investors are posting anything. So I think when we press that go button, you'll probably see us kind of everywhere. And roll out product verticals very, very slowly. I think it's going to be exciting.
Okay. Thanks a lot for your time, bro. Really appreciate your time. I will let you go back in the founder mode. And it was like Q42 with a talk with a founder about RampX and even more bullish on that. So stay tuned, guys. Cheers.
Appreciate you, man. Take care.